up until this last weekend, NFL teams that scored 40 points and rushed for 235 yards at least in a game were 277-0, and that included the playoffs. Not anymore. The Ravens managed to add a 1 to the loss column. This Sunday night game was utterly ridiculous because, yet again, the Ravens managed to find a way to lose. Because they have had a knack of this in the last few years of having some spectacular collapses in the second half of games. Boys, what do you think of it? Because this was a game for the ages. It was an absolutely brilliant start to an NFL season in terms of quality of game. But hey, the Buffalo Bills still managed to find a way. Will, your thoughts on this one first?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Ravens fan, you're not happy about this because it's kind of like the MO of the team these past few seasons has been they struggle to finish the big games. They can do it on small scale. They can beat down on teams, finish them off. But the games that matter, you're on the edge of your seat until the fourth quarter. You're still having to struggle trying to work out. Even though we're ahead by 30 points, there's 6 minutes left on the clock. It's not over. And I think the Ravens are too good of a team for that to be their MO. Derrick Henry was able to get 2 touchdowns, 169 yards. You got Zay Flowers going off, 143 yards and a touchdown. You look at these numbers and you're thinking, yeah, no, they've got this. It's over. But it's just another collapse. It's I don't know if it's a coordinator issue, if it's it just seems as though maybe they're too much in their own head. Something is happening defensively where it's a case of they go prevent, let's just not allow big bombs down and allow everything underneath. You do that, teams will slowly pick you off. If Josh Allen is a good QB, if he sees the openings, he's going to take them. And I think that's the case. I mean, Keon Coleman, of all people, a lot of people were saying he was a bust. And it's only week 1, all right? And he's heading into his second year in the league. But for him to be able to get 112 yards on 8 receptions, and he's not known for his speed, his route running is not as advertised anymore. Something's not quite right here, and I just hope for the Ravens, they're able to kind of sort it out heading into week 2 because they're a contender. This shouldn't be happening. I think all Bills fans are relieved because this was always going to be a tough game and they managed to squeak a win, so it's just one of those situations where I think week 1 of the NFL, you're always going to have either lopsided scores like the Dolphins, but then you also get games like this where I don't know if it's a preparation issue or if it's a personnel issue. Something needs to get solved, and or else I can't see the Ravens. I can see them entering the playoffs. I can see them doing well, but I can't see them
winning it all.
To their expectations. Yeah, because this is the same issue they had last season. They just need to learn to finish their games. They're a good team, a great team, an all-time great team. They just need to finish their games. They're too good for this. So I'm a bit upset personally. I'm not even a Ravens fan.
Well, I'll pretense this with... So my brother currently now lives 9 hours ahead of us in the UK, so 14 hours ahead of this game taking place. So he was sat on his lunch break over in Australia, and he's a Ravens fan. And I'm getting texts saying, he's absolutely livid. He's completely and utterly livid. And he goes, we deserve to lose. It's yet another piece of comedy of errors on special teams, and then we give up a fumble. We were doing everything, we as in the Ravens, doing everything possible to make sure that the Bills win this game because they were 15 points ahead, right? They were 15 points ahead with 7 minutes remaining, right? Josh Allen then takes over a drive, obviously, goes down, scores a touchdown, and now it's 8 points, right? Next drive, that's when Henry coughs it up.
Yep. Unlike him as well.
unlike him, right?
Unlike
And
Derrick
then,
Henry, that's not what he does.
yeah, because he's generally a person that he doesn't fumble the ball a lot, right? Not a lot. And then,
Well,
well, not compared to some, right? He has had fumbles, but he's not like a fumble merchant. He wouldn't have lasted in the league this length if he was a fumble merchant. But and then you look at just the drive sheet, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Then they have to punt the ball after they cough up a score. Obviously, they cough up another touchdown, but they managed to hold away the 2-point conversion. But they give Josh Allen plenty of time to get down the field. 1 minute 26 to go from the Buffalo 20 further. When you've got a special teams error of, it's just everything's just, it all went wrong. And it happens too much. Peter, as another neutral or not adjacent to a fan like I am with my brother and with our friend Coach Andy over in America, and I was sending him messages at the same time. I was messaging two Ravens fans on the go. What are your thoughts on this? Because it keeps happening. It keeps happening.
Resident defensive guy. I mean, I'll say this. Buffalo took it. The Ravens left the door open, and Buffalo just went in there and decided, let's go and take this away from them. But here's the thing about the Ravens. I think one thing I'm seeing about the Ravens, this current generation of the Ravens is it's become Lamar Jackson's team has become more offensively focused, and they do have the defensive pieces. But one thing that, despite all the errors that happens, and this is overreaction Monday is week 1, so this could be an overreaction from me as well. But I preface that by saying this. There's one guy on the Bills defense that really played well in this game that we haven't talked about, and that's Ed Oliver. He's the one that caused the fumble from
It was a full-blown peanut punch, wasn't it?
Derrick Henry. Yeah, he punched it. And in this game, he was a wreck because he was causing havoc, and being very disruptive. Which it was a bit, and people didn't notice, but he was actually being a bit disruptive in there for the Bills defense. But when you go back to the Ravens, one thing that I've noticed is that since the Ravens became more of an offensive focused team and they generally have a good enough defense, they are missing what essentially makes Baltimore. Because if we go back into history, Baltimore was always known to be defensive.
I think what it was is in those previous years they've had injuries galore on the defensive side. They've had the talent, they have had the playmaking. They've just had injuries knock them to like that 4th, 5th corner or like backup safeties. So the secondary is normally completely depleted. But in this circumstance, they were not depleted and they still managed to conspire.
No, there wasn't. They had the players, but one thing they didn't have is defensive leadership. Like if you go back to previous versions of Baltimore Ravens, like from the Lewis to the Ed Reed era, they would never lose a game when they're up for like by 15 points. Because those guys, it wasn't just about their play on the field, it was about their leadership on the field, right? And for me, this game, people have one person that has been a leader but hasn't been an effective leader, and I wish he could have been in that circumstance or in those moments, is Roquan Smith. You are the de facto leader for the Baltimore Ravens defense. When you see your team, the score is getting close, you get the boys to run and you be like, we need to shut shop right here because we can't afford to lose this game. It was very disappointing for the Ravens' point of view to be up 15 points and lose the game like that. But then it comes down to the field goal as well, because if they didn't miss that extra point, it would have been tied. But hey, I guess sometimes comes down to the fine margin.
Yeah, they kind of need that young leader on the team. I think Kyle Hamilton, a lot of people are saying like he's the future of that team, but his type of leadership is he leads through the way he plays. Like he's not. I mean, he can be vocal,
But you don't need. But you
he's not
don't.
there
But there
yet.
are different types of leaders. You don't need to
Yeah.
have somebody shouting. Sometimes leadership by example is a great way because this is the standard, and this is the standard that we must always have. Now, if we look at it from the Bills' perspective, Josh Allen, he was pretty good in this game.
He was pretty
Right.
good. He did what he needed to do. I mean, he was leading the offense, and it was a case of we're gonna keep clawing this. We're gonna keep playing. We're gonna keep fighting to get back in the game and take the opportunities that were presented to them. So I give Josh Allen a lot of credit, for putting the team on his back essentially, and said we're gonna keep playing until we get back in. I think when they get within like a score of tying the game, he realized that we could actually come back in this game, and kudos to him. I mean, being down by 15 points and still rallying the troops, and he played really well. I mean, to be honest, when you look at the game, both teams kind of like, especially offensively, they did what they needed to do. It's just that
It's just one of those games where
was let down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Ravens defensively were powerless, in that fourth quarter, but also their offense didn't really do anything either in that fourth quarter because not only did they cough up the ball, but they did go 3 and out as well. So that gap kept on coming back. So unfortunately,
Yeah, but essentially that's why it's an amazing team game, because essentially, like, here's the thing: when your offense put up 40 points against the fourth quarter and they're not keeping the possession anymore, essentially becomes it's not complicated.
the pressure
defense,
just mounts and
we need
mounts
to
and
help us
mounts.
out a little here. Exactly. Yeah. So defense, can you like make a stop and help us a bit here, because we've maxed out. We can't go anymore. So it's like when it gets to that point, it's like, hey, it becomes a defensive game. But one thing that was surprising is because with the Ravens, it's like usually in NFL, like with top teams with good defenses like this, if you have a 15-point lead, that's when kind of like your pass rush mounts up, if that makes sense. As in, like, if you have pass rushers, we need to go. We can eat now because they're gonna throw in the football. We need to get heated.
But the thing is, Josh Allen's not easily sackable. That's the thing, because he's so maneuverable.
Yeah,
but hey,
that's a very good point.
Guys, put a comment down below as to why you think it all went wrong for the Ravens, or why do you think it all went right for the Bills? Not just the fumbles and the mishaps, but if there was anything else that you thought that actually caused it.